Hey guys, how are you? Someone just sent me something in Instagram. Ugh, I clicked on it. I'm not sure what it is. What is this? So a false marriage license nearly turned into a disaster that would have resulted in property loss before being noticed by the clerk's office. Larry Collier with the clerk of court's office says that an incident began when the couple walked in to apply for their license, but it would later be learned that the soon to be groom was actually using the identity of a man that was currently in prison. Y'all send me some funny stuff. Individuals came into the clerk's office questioning a transfer, which was a donation of some property from a ex to an individual who was incarcerated, says Collier. The bride was the former girlfriend of the incarcerated man. Collier says that the couple used the marriage license to donate the property from the incarcerated man to the female's name, including evicting the man's mother from their home. The donation did occur and it was caught by the clerk's office that was there, but it just goes to show the significance of being alert and being aware because sometimes things don't get caught, which incidents like this in with incidents like this in mind, Collier says that there is an online service that offers notifications when records are filed under your name and when changes are made with the website. Incidents like this could be avoided before they get out of hand. It can slip through the cracks, and in many cases a donation of or a cash sale of property that doesn't belong to someone can occur. So it's really significant to be aware that these services exist and prepare for the worst case scenario and being prepared. Also, in case of these events, also in the case that events like this do occur, St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Department is also investigating the incident, with more information to come. The investigate when the investigation is complete. Okay, well, thank you for sending that, guys. Um, Also, someone sent me an email about some nonsense on YouTube. If there's somebody like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of nonsense, there's always going to be someone who's not going to like my channel, and that's okay. I cannot operate a channel worrying about people that want to try to take me out of business. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? So if you are about to hit send on telling me what someone got planned for me other than any that's not positive in my opinion, don't even bother sending it, please. I don't care. Like I don't care to know about it. It's not my That's their business, not my business. My business is to come on here and go live every day or whenever I feel like pressing this go live and minding all of my good black job business. And that's it. It's not my business to mind what other people are doing, not in my behalf. I'm not, that's not my business. You know what I'm saying? So on that, that's it. No, you didn't miss anything. I mean, if you just came in, just rewind. We just got started. We are only 6 minutes in. So if you just came in, you missed 6 minutes and 15 seconds. That's all you missed. Anyway, guys, yes. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? We got started. We just got started. Let me see what's going on here. That was interesting. The only thing that was really missed is that someone sent me an article and I clicked in it and started reading it. It was basically just some more fraud, more of the rampant fraud that's going on all over the place, and ways that crooks and criminals and people have figured out to be able to take what other people have. Just, just the shenanigans of the takers out here. And the good thing is that I guess the moral of the story is that the person who was paid to be on alert was alert and saw what was going on and was able to catch some wrongdoing before it went too far. But also, I was waiting to see a commercial in the article, but basically, they were saying that there are online services to help monitor even things outside of credit, like liens and things of that nature, to better have an idea of what could potentially be going on when you're not paying 100% attention to every like financial transaction or maneuver. Um, okay, okay. So yeah, I hope everyone is doing well, having a good day so far. I love it. I love them, but only want to have them for an hour or two. Oh, probably something to do with kids, right? Leandra, thank you, sis, for renewing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, hun. Hello to everybody. I'm gonna skip around because I know I got here later than expected because you know it's summer. Like I said, this week I'm probably gonna just accept that I'm not gonna be on a schedule. Um no, I did not. Petty Patty, sis. Okay. I wish, but no. No, 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 no. Oh my God. Y'all get to talking and making all kinds of assumptions. Oh, she's coming around the corner. That's me. That's me. You know, I was not taking a nap. I wasn't feeling well yesterday, but today I am good. Um, let's see. Okay, so today I was watching the probable is it the probable cause? It's a bail hearing. There was a shooting in Atlanta at a nightclub. Two people were killed. Six people were shot, two people were killed. I think it's called 1145. I don't know any of you guys who may have heard of it. I thought it was kind of interesting because the hearing was the hearing was definitely interesting. Also, I was watching the sentencing for Angela Rivers, who also was convicted. She was in Judge McAfee's court. Um, so much Atlanta in my timeline, but I do have it's funny. There's just a lot of Atlanta in my timeline. But the two things I was watching today were those things, and I thought we could get into at least one of them. Um, so that yeah, there was a club shooting that was actually caught on film or caught on video, and the defendant, of course, is denying that it was him, even though there is overhead cameras. And it kind of like a split second, maybe you can't tell if it was him because according to his lawyers, there were like 6, 7, 8 other people in the club with black hoodies, and it could have been anybody. And but there was a innocent bystander who was killed. There was an additional person that he had beef with that was killed, and then there were 4 other people who were shot. And this happened fairly recently. Let's see. Only positive vibes, absolutely. But yeah, I just before, yeah, just a summary. Like I love when you guys send me tea and gossip and stuff, but if it's about me, um and what someone has planned for me. They got some plans for me of some shenanigans nature. I don't care to know about it. I don't care. I don't care to hear anything about any of that. Okay. I'm coming. You know, like was it like Cat Williams says, they know I'm coming and I know I'm coming. They know I'm gonna be there. And then when I get there, I'm gonna do the best job I can, right? They have a you know, I don't know if it was all yeah. I mean, let's see, why are folks taking what well, because they probably had some business that they wanted to handle. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it a little bit, okay? Hold on. Let me do one first. They got so much to say. The funny thing is that when they're going through the bail hearing, the judge just is like, but wait a second, isn't there a failure to appear? He had some theft by deception. Sound familiar? He had some theft by deception. He has some other charges with a whole entire FTA. When they said, I was just like, see, you already got FTAs and you're trying to get bond. It's probably not going to happen. Just saying, because and also it might be safer to stay where you're at if that's what you're up to. You know what I mean? Um, is this it right here? Okay. All right. Let's look at this real quick.
Cameras at the 1145 lounge actually captured the double murder on camera.
The deadly shootings happened just a few minutes after Mother's Day at the Buckhead Lounge. The families of both the victims and the suspects packed the courtroom as prosecutors started laying out their case against accused shooter Karanji Reese.
Fox 5's Angelique Proctor was in the courtroom when the video was played. She joins us now here on set with the night's new details. Angelique, what was watching that video like?
Well, it was something else, let me tell you, to actually see a murder or someone killed on camera.
Jarring.
There was really a lot of tension in the courtroom as the victims and the suspects' families occupied the same space. Now, emotions were raw. The mother of the innocent Albany State student killed during the melee left the courtroom when prosecutors played the video of the deadly shooting.
Reese is now approaching.
Prosecutors showed surveillance video from outside and inside the 1145 lounge on the night of the shooting at the Buckhead spot. You see suspect Karanji Reese just past the security checkpoint at the lounge, wearing a black hoodie and green cargo pants. Here he walks inside, and the next perspective shows strolling lights in most of the lounge. At 2:45 in the morning, bullets start flying. You can see club goers immediately start running for cover. Unfortunately, Nakiris Ridley and innocent bystander Miriam Creighton died. 4 others were injured, including Lauren Moore, who was shot in both of her legs. The APD detective told the court the lounge had thorough pat-down security procedures, and she is still unclear how Reese slipped in with a weapon. It is a question that haunts the Creighton family.
They made her remove her mace. So how did 2 people get in there with guns? Underage people were in there. So they were very negligent. And I also feel that security, whatever security let those guys in, that they should also press charges because they were negligent in their job, which cost my daughter her life.
The detective told the court an 1145 security officer identified Reese in a 6-person lineup as the shooter. But prosecutors also concede that that security guard was outside at the front door when the shooting happened. Reese's family says he is innocent.
The APD needs to do their job instead of going by hearsay from the streets, because Karanji did not do that. He's innocent. Why is it different bullets? Why was it different bullets there, but you still saying he the one did the shooting? How?
Now, APD says Ridley and Reese knew each other and were beefing. The detective also says Reese's cell phone records were examined and cell towers put him in the area of the 1145 lounge when the deadly shooting happened.
Gives you a whole new perspective, being able to actually see that video inside the club.
Yeah. All right.
She said, how was there 2 different bullets? Because maybe there were 2 different guns. There could have been 2 different guns. It just depends on the forensics, right? So if there's 2 different shell casings, and they're going to have to get the forensics to see what actually hit and killed the victims versus what they say this guy had in their hand. So I'm sure all of that's going to come out. But anyway, let's get into this. Hey, Pam, what's up, sis? How are you? Anyway, let's get into this over here. So sir is at his bond hearing, and let's hear how this goes. This was interesting to me.
That the state is being represented in this matter by Mr. Greiner. We are ready to go ahead and get started.
So his name is Karan Reese, and I was looking up his information, his file. He's got felony murder. Well, he's got 2 felony murders. So he's got 9 counts on this indictment. Hold on, let me show you guys real quick. So it's murder, 2 counts felony murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon ×4. Number 8 count is criminal damage to property in the 1st degree, and then possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Okay. Wait, is this the right one? Hold on a second. Oh, my bad. I'm looking at the wrong indictment. My bad. I think that's a different, where's Karan Reese? Hold on a second. Oh. All right, I'll pull that up in a second. That was something else that I was looking at. That's Angela. That was a sentencing. This person actually got life in prison. We'll go over that. Got life today. We'll talk about that later or tomorrow or something. But yeah, this is a different indictment. My bad, Joe. Let me pull up what I need to pull up. Okay, let me get this video over here, and then I'll get the jacket.
Who will I be hearing from on behalf of, in support of the motion on behalf of the defense?
Malcolm Connor.
Where is it?
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Today you have before you Karan Reese. Mr. Reese is 21 years old. He's a graduate of Christian Life Academy located in Forest Park, Georgia. If he is released on bail, he will reside at a home that I will not give out the address given the circumstances, owned by his aunt. That house has been owned for the last 7 years.
Okay, guys, real quick, 1 second. This is what I was trying to pull up. My bad. He's got so his case, he was charged on 5/12/2024, 1 count aggravated assault, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of a felony, 2 counts of murder, and then 5 counts of aggravated assault. So that's what he's facing right now. And like I said, this is his bond hearing. So, all right, I'm going to just let this play.
All of his family reside here in Georgia. His aunts, his brothers. He has no other ties to any other state. His mom passed away when he was at a very young age. He never had a chance to meet his father. His family is very devoted, very supportive. He has a village behind him. I believe his family is here today. They're sitting on the front row. This is not a situation where Mr. Reese will try to abscond or try to evade the jurisdiction. Mr. Reese wants his day in court along with his significant community ties. Mr. Reese is employed. He has a number of occupations. He does community outreach with a nonprofit called Charlotte Hopes Incorporated, where they provide empowerment and encouragement to youth aged 5 to 18 who suffer from mental and physical health issues. Along with that, his family has owned a daycare, a learning academy / daycare for the past 5 years, where he works there as well. He has been gainfully employed since he graduated from Life Christian Academy. Mr. Reese has no felony convictions. He doesn't have a violent criminal history. The present charges that we're here for today, Your Honor, it's still under investigation. There's a lot that is unknown. We established at the prelim that this case is still ongoing. There were multiple shell casings at the scene. No witness can point out my client to be the shooter. There were multiple shooters. It's established that there were multiple shell casings, which in my conclusion that there would be multiple shooters. over 200 people there at that nightclub that night. Multiple people with black hoodies, multiple people, African-American males with dreadlocks and wigs. And that's the description that they give. He doesn't pose any danger to the community. When we're talking about felony, posing a significant risk of committing any felony pending trial, he has no felony criminal convictions. He has mainly driving infractions. He has 2 open cases, which are in Fulton County. We'd like to address the 24 case, which you already know of, theft by receiving, and attempting to elude. That case, the facts on that case are, he went to pick up a car for his family member that got stolen, and on the way back, he gets stopped. I have spoken to that family members who car it is, and when we have that prelim, they will be present to address that situation. So he was stopped after picking up a car that was stolen. He found out who had the car, and he went to retrieve that car. The 2022 is
Mr. Connor.
Yeah,
Mr. Connor. The potentially more interesting fact about that case, though, is that isn't it currently in judicial hold because there's a failure to appear?
No, that's the 22 case, I believe.
Right.
Right. There's 2 cases, the 24 case and the 22 cases in judicial hold. But I believe that was the 22 case was a notice problem because of an FTA. So I guess they had the wrong address. I don't believe that he was trying to abscond or evade that arrest, but there was simply a notice problem. There's a 2022 Cobb County case that was no process. I have that for the court today as well. That was the most serious of the cases. Not to say that these cases aren't serious, but that was the most serious of his criminal history. And that case was no prost. Your Honor, he has no desire to communicate, reach out to any witnesses involved in this case. I mean, that can be a condition set forth by the court if that's a problem as far as communicating with anybody in this case. He has no interest in doing that. And
is there any, Mr. Connor, is there any, I don't know anything about the facts of the case as yet because it's new.
Right.
Is there any allegation of a pre-existing, is there any indication that Mr. Reese knew any of the people that were involved in this dispute that resulted in the shooting at the nightclub?
I mean, it's all hearsay, Your Honor. It's word on the street. There's nothing set in stone, in fact, that Mr. Reese and anybody involved in this case knew each other.
So translating that, it sounds like there might be some discussion of a relationship, but you don't necessarily credit that discussion. Is that right?
Correct, John.
Fair.
Correct.
Okay.
When Mr. Reese found out about, his warrant in regarding this case, he took the necessary protocols and steps to surrender himself. He hired counsel. He cooperated with the detective. We set up a time. He abided by that time, and we surrendered Mr. Reese to the headquarters. If Mr. Reese had any chance of absconding or evading arrest, he would have took that chance. Mr. Reese wants his day in court. And I want to state that America's justice system, Your Honor, is built on the presumption that bail should be granted if any conditions that can be factored, any conditions to ensure the community is safe, the person poses no danger to the community, witnesses will not be intimidated, there will be no obstruction of justice. In this case, Mr. Reese will not commit a felony or any crime while out on bond. Mr. Reese will appear in court. And if we do it the other way, Your Honor, and maintain people and house people, then the presumption of innocence, which our entire standard in Georgia is built on, is gone because he would be presumed guilty. In Georgia, unlike other states, for the purposes of pretrial bond, the presumption of innocence remains with Mr. Reese. And that's accused of any offense, even a capital offense, during an arrest and even during trial. And that I have the case site for that as well as Vanderford B. Brand, 126 Georgia. We won't object to any conditions set forth by the court, Your Honor, whether that's home confinement, electronic monitoring, whatever the courts feels sufficient for Mr. Reese. we won't object to it. Lastly, Your Honor, liberty is the norm of our community. And this custodial detention prior to trial, when there are conditions that can be set and can be fashioned, will be against the law. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Mr. Griner?
And good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
So in brief outline, what this case involves is back on May 12th of 24, Mother's Day, 2:24 in the morning, at the 1145 Lounge, that's located at 2110 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, that there were a number of individuals at the club at that hour of the evening. There are security or surveillance video showing what occurred. And what is depicted clearly is this defendant entering the club. He is easily identified by his somewhat shorter stature, his hairstyle, the clothing that he was wearing, and then his image, his face. Later on, and he can be seen tracked through the club. Later on, in the investigation of the case, he is further identified in 3 different ways. One is his cell phone record showing him there at the location, there in the area. The second is that the head of the security team there at the club later identified this defendant out of a 6-pack photo lineup. And the third additional way, is that Detective Grimsley of the Atlanta Police Department was able to identify the defendant on the video. So what occurred was that there were essentially 2 very small groups. There is the deceased victim, Nikiris Ridley, and one of his friends. There's this defendant and 2 of his friends. And what the security camera shows is that is a very large room with at least 100 people, I'll guess, that were in the room. Deceased victim Nikiris Ridley and the defendant in this case, Karanji Reese, and their respective groups approach each other. Almost immediately, there are punches thrown between Mr. Reese and Mr. Ridley and also their friends, but this lasts only about 2 seconds, literally. They break apart, and there is a clear separation between deceased victim Nikiris Ridley and this defendant, Karanji Reese. Any self-defense claim that may have existed prior to that is forfeited when the defendant draws a handgun and starts firing. He ends up shooting 6 different people. He kills his expected target, Nikiris Ridley. But one of the other individuals he kills is Miriam Creighton, who's out that evening for a birthday celebration. She's shot in the back. The gunshots continue. As Nikiris Ridley goes to the floor and is face down trying to get away, crawl away, the defendant keeps shooting.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He ends up, like as I mentioned, shooting 4 additional people. 6 total, 2 dead, 4 injured. Those other 4 were Donnell Laster, Laster, Taylor Holmes, Lauren Moore, and Isaiah Allen. My colleague is correct. I want to get into the criminal history in a minute, but my colleague is correct about one thing. This defendant does have friends in the community. Somehow, he was able to get a loaded handgun into this club, although he was frisked at the door. That's shown on video. The other thing, though, is that he has a friend, a very large, bulky guy, who pushed his way like a bulldozer through the chaos, through the crowd after the gunshots, and people are going crazy. He has a friend who bulldozed his way straight through to the exit, and the defendant was right behind him. This defendant would not have gotten out of that club so easily if he did not have this friend helping him get out of the club. There's one last detail I want to say before I get into the criminal history, and that is right before this defendant exited the club, he turns again and points his gun toward the crowd. Kyrus Ridley is already down on the floor. His friends are already way back in the back of the club, but he continued to point his gun toward the crowd. This is not a self-defense case, and the identity issue is not so strong as my colleague would suggest, based upon the several different ways that he is identified, and plus he's clearly seen entering the club. So my colleague addressed several of the matters that are on the defendant's history, and I would like to first of all start with the Cobb County case, because my colleague is correct. That case did end up getting dismissed. So what we're talking about is Cobb County warrant number 21W2445. So this defendant on that case was booked in on March 25th of 2021, and he was released out on bond in that Cobb County case on March 28th of 2021. It was later dismissed about 2 years later on April 6th of 2023. But the reason why I mention it is that while this defendant was out on bond, he ended up getting arrested here in Fulton County. So he violated his Cobb County bond by getting arrested in Fulton County. And I would submit to the court that there's no bond order that's going to prevent him from going out and being charged, being arrested for additional felonies. The felony that he was arrested for here in Fulton County is now indicted as case number 22 SC 182559. And the court is correct in pointing out that this defendant actually missed court twice. So he missed court on August 23rd of 2022 for failure, and there was a judicial hold entered at that time for failure to appear. That judicial hold was then lifted, and the date of the order of the judicial hold was August 23rd of 2022. That's the date that he missed court and the date that that order was entered. That judicial hold was then lifted January 10th of 2023. So he got a second chance at coming to court. Even with his family support, whatever it may be, he had a difficult time finding his way to the courthouse a second time on March 13th of 2023. Same case, he missed the arraignment again, and the court entered an order that same day, March 13th, 2023, for a judicial hold. And it's my understanding that as we sit here today, there's still a judicial hold outstanding in that case. So Mr. Reese has then gone on to commit other offenses. One offense that my colleague mentioned occurred on March 7th of this year, 2024. That case number is 24DA05368. And on that time, he was in a stolen Jeep together with others, and there was a police chase, and this defendant fled the police. The Jeep ended up getting wrecked. He and his friends abandoned that Jeep. What police located inside that stolen car were a total of 7 guns. One of them was stolen. The other 6 were there. In that case is still under investigation. He was not arrested that day. All that occurred March 7th of 2024. And then again, of course, this case occurred on May 12th of 2024. So while out on bond in the case that he has a warrant out for him, he ends up catching two different cases. March 7th of 2021, and then this case here, which occurred on May 12th of 2024. And so respectfully, we are going to ask that the court deny bond. I do have 3 individuals who would like to address the court if now is the appropriate time.
It is, thank you. And if you could either have them come to the podium or to the witness stand so that I can see and hear them.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to start with Dimitri Holmes.
Okay, guys, maybe some of you guys have already cheated, but do you think this guy's getting bond or no bond? Should I put up a poll? Is he getting bond so some people are saying, I've already seen a couple of denied. Who says he's getting bond? And I mean, the charges are very serious. Do you think he's getting bond or is he not getting bond? Because Nesto seems to think everyone gets bond over him. Okay. Everyone's saying no so far. I don't think so. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Yes, giving us a poll. You guys just want to vote. Okay. Someone said hecky nah. Okay, very, very serious. I mean, look, just imagine you're going out for an evening. Just imagine you are at Damn Red Martini, right? For a nice evening. And what happens? Or your daughter, your son goes out for a nice evening with their friends, and some fool comes in the club who's got beef with somebody, and the young lady caught stray bullets. One lady got shot in both of her legs. Okay. Then there were 3 other people. I'm not sure what their injuries were. One young lady, completely innocent bystander, was unalived. And then allegedly the gentleman that this man Karanji had beef with also dead. So lots of turmoil. But okay, I'll put up a poll. Let's listen to the rest. We're more than halfway through, so let's just listen and see what happens. This is very much horrible. Yes, bad. And the fact that I think on top of everything that happened, he had a failure to appear, which they don't like those failure to appear means that there's a possibility you're not going to show up because you've already not shown up in something else. And this is now more serious. So why are we going to give you another chance? On top of that, his lawyer really tried to dismiss the failure to appear like, oh, it's not as serious of a case, or that was back in blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, that was back whenever, but you still didn't show up. You didn't show up. You didn't just walk into the court and say, hey, I missed court. Can we reschedule? Or can I set up like call the judge, leave a message, call the clerk, reschedule? None of that. You know what I mean? Like, why do they have to come find you, or they have to wait till you get in trouble again to address it? So that's kind of one of those character. I hate to say it, right? What case is this? Look on your screen, hon. Hold on. Okay, they need some oil on that little door. This is the Karanji Reese murder trial. This guy went and basically shot up the club. I mean, that's like literally got into an argument with some people around 2:45 in the morning, and the video, all you see are people hitting the floor, and 6 people were shot. Of the 6, 2 were killed, and the other 4 sustained serious injuries.
Ma'am, if you'll start by stating your name to the microphone and then spelling your name, please, for the court reporter.
Yes, my name is Dimitri. Thank you. My name is Dimitri.
Her braids are absolutely laid. I wonder if that's the mom.
Demittree, last name Home, Holmes.
Okay. And then
Go ahead when you're ready.
Go ahead and make your statement before.
Thank you for allowing me to have this platform. I am speaking on behalf of my Latasha Hall. She's my first cousin, and it was her grandson that perished in the incident. I stand before you today not only as a grieving family member, but also a representative of a life cruelty taken away. Leaving a 3-month-old baby. He was a father. This child is now fatherless and will grow up in an irreplaceable void, the void created by a senseless act of violence. My cousin's grandson was more than just a victim. He was a father, a son, and a cherished member of our family. His absence is a constant reminder of the defendant's heinous action. I urge the court to consider the gravity of this loss. Denying bond is a necessary step to ensure justice is served and that our community remains safe. Thank you, Your Honor, for considering our heartfelt plea during this difficult time.
Thank you, ma'am, and I'm very sorry for your family's loss.
Thank you.
Judge, may I be heard?
Mr. Kane, yes?
Yeah. With all due respect.
Do you wish to, well, forgive me, Mr. Kane, are you asking to examine the witness or?
I'm asking to be heard.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
With all due respect to the state's presentation and to Ms. Holmes, there's absolutely no authority for victim impact statements at a bond hearing. There's the IOLA factors, and this is not one of them. It's not relevant, and I'd ask the court to not receive any additional victim impact information at the bond hearing. Every crime has a victim, but it's not a relevant testimonial consideration for the court at this time. Thank you.
Understood, Mr. Kane. Mr. Griner, do you wish to respond to that?
Judge, the Victims' Bill of Rights and other principles allow them to make a statement to the court. It's proper. It's done routinely. And I understand that my colleague may not like what is being spoken. He, of course, has the ability to cross-examine if he wants to go down that road. But the victim's family absolutely has a right to be heard at a bond hearing, and also in its consideration of the different ALA factors, which I will address at the close of the testimony. So if there's authority, we'd ask the state to cite it, and I have never seen it addressed in an appellate decision, and then an IOLA or Verge, which preceded IOLA appellate decision. Never seen it. It's not relevant at this.
So, Mr. Kane, you have made your record. I've heard Mr. Griner's response. Let me say that. Yes, I think that you're both somewhat right in that I believe that based on the various laws that entitle victims to notice and an opportunity to communicate with the court about their feelings, et cetera, that they are entitled within reason to share with the court and provide some statement about their impact at this proceeding. Now, separately, Mr. Kane, you are right that it is the court's job to apply the necessary elements of IOLA and to make sure that any decision that the court makes is based on those factors. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to hear victim impact statements that are being offered by the state. But your record has been made on that issue, and if you would like to revisit it further at a later time, you may do so. But for now, we're going to go forward.
I don't choose to repeat myself, and I do accept to the court's order.
Understood. Mr. Griner?
Next, we'll call Tracy Eason.
So this is the mother of the young lady who was killed. So before that was the cousin of the young man's grandmother. Okay, so the lady with the updo braids is a family member. She's the cousin of the young man's grandmother. So she wasn't the mother. She's like big auntie. Okay, let's just say. auntie 3 times or something, big cousin 3 times. This lady right here getting up this is the mom to the young lady who was killed in the club that night on Mother's Day weekend. Okay.
Your Honor and the people of the court.
Start by your name.
Okay, I'm
Spelling.
okay. My name is
Thank you.
Tracy Eason, TRACEY EASON. Your Honor and the people.
Go ahead.
Okay. Your Honor and the people of the court, I am here to speak on behalf of our beautiful daughter, Maury Creighton. She was a gentle soul, excluding kindness and humility, carrying herself as the young lady that I raised her to be. Each morning, I'm reminded that I will never again receive her FaceTime calls. I will never be able to ask her what grade she received on her exam or how did volleyball practice go. She will not have the opportunity to walk across the stage and receive her baccalaureate degree from Albany State. Our planned graduation celebration to St. Croix will never happen. Instead, I was left planning her funeral. Maury was so very excited to finally be home from college as we were working on converting our basement to her very own apartment. Her summer plans to Texas and Florida this month will never happen. Maury will miss out on the simple joys of summer outings with loved ones, which began and tragically ended on Mother's Day. Maury was recognized as the golden child of my family. She had a very own nail salon in our garage. She had a very own sewing studio where she even crafted her own senior year prom dress. I will miss all of the creative noises in the house that came along with her many talents. My relationship with Maury was truly a bond that I can't simply describe with words unless you knew us. But what I can share with you here today is that my heart aches every single waking second of the day, imagining what my baby must have gone through as she lay there alone, helpless, during the final moments of her life before she took her last breath. Gone are the nights when we would both say good night, I love you, and I love you too. Instead, I now stare at her pictures and watch videos until I can finally fall asleep. Maury, along with her entire village, and you can see her in pink, of loved ones, all received our life sentence on May 12th. She doesn't have a bond hearing here today to see if she'll be able to come home with us. Your Honor, my wishes are that the defendant does not receive bond. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, I'm so sorry for your family's loss.
Thank you.
And thirdly, I'd like to call Taylor Holmes.
My name is Taylor Holmes, TAYLORHOLME.
Go ahead when you're ready, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just waiting to start the reading.
Okay.
I was filled with excitement at the thought of spending summer with Maury and also my other friends, enjoying our summer break, returning before our college campus. Little did I know my world would shatter on that fateful night of May 12th at 2:25. What was meant to be a joyous celebration of my birthday turned into a a horrifying ordeal. Mara and I were caught in a crossfire, leaving me with physical and emotional scars that I may never heal from. The bullet still lodged in my leg. There is a constant reminder of the trauma I endured. Instead of embarking on summer adventures, I now find myself confined to physical therapy sessions and counseling sessions, struggle to remain normal. The loss of my mom, my auntie, my bestie, my girl, has left a void in my heart that will never be filled. As I stand here today, I plead for justice for the victims and for a chance to heal and to rebuild what was taken from us. My wishes are that the defendant does not receive a bond.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Your Honor, clearly we oppose bond, and
she, by the grace of God, she is walking. She got shot in both of her legs and sat there and had to see her cut. She said her auntie, bestie, all of the things, pass away on her birthday, Mother's Day. That's awful. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. This is bad.
in this case, I would submit to the court that the defendant is a flight risk. He's fled from police before, trying to conduct traffic stops. No order of the court he's not gonna obey any of that. He's also a threat or a danger to the community. If somebody's gonna take a loaded gun inside a bar and shoot 6 people who are unarmed, is a definite threat to the community. He's also a risk of committing a felony pending trial. He's proven time and time again. My colleague is correct. There are no felony convictions at this point, but he has certainly committed felonies while out on bond. And I would also submit that I think that the matter was raised with my colleague. It's my understanding that deceased victim, Nakairis Ridley, did know Karanji Reese, the defendant. There was some kind of relationship there. And so I would submit that that there may be a risk of intimidating witnesses. So I would submit to the court that bond should be denied on all 4 IALA factors and also under OCGA 1761E. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Groner. Mr. Connor, Mr. Kane, who will I hear from on behalf of the defendant in response? It's y'all's motion, so you will get the last word.
Your Honor, I just want to address one thing. My colleague says that my client, well, you named 2 witnesses that pointed to the description of my client, and he didn't specify the video footage that was shown to those witnesses. All right. So the video footage that was shown to the witnesses were outside the club. So they're putting my client at the club, but when the video footage was shown to the witnesses of the shooting inside the club, they could not determine if that was my client or not. That's all I have to say, Your Honor. I just wanted to point that and make that note for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. So I think Mr. Kane pointed out a moment ago, and Mr. Connor has mentioned it as well, that the relevant legal standard here is for the court to apply the IALA factors, which generally we understand to be whether or not the defendant poses a danger to the community, whether the defendant is a risk of committing a felony pending trial, whether the defendant may intimidate witnesses or otherwise interfere with the administration of justice, and whether or not there's a concern that the defendant may not return for trial. I think that Mr. Connor correctly points out and reminds the court always that the presumption of innocence resides with Mr. Reese. I've heard a good bit from both sides about the facts of the case, but at the end of the day, I think that the appropriate way to apply the factors is to, number one, give the defendant the benefit of the presumption of innocence that he has, but also not to dig too deep into the facts of what are alleged, because that will come later in terms of what actually occurred in this case. So instead, what I am going to focus on are those Ayala factors.
Sorry, guys.
And what I see, as I pointed out to Mr. Connor during his presentation, is a history of a failure to appear. And Mr. Connor can, assert that it's a notice issue, but there's no indication given Mr. Reese's extensive ties to the community and fairly stable, it sounds like, family locations in the city or the county. I don't know anything about the notice issue in that case, but I'm not persuaded by it at this stage. So I will say that, and then beyond that, I also am concerned about the fact that while there were charges pending, Mr. Reese has continued to pick up new charges. And so because of that, I am concerned that Mr. Reese may not return for trial if he were released on bond. And I am also concerned that Mr. Reese poses a danger of committing a felony pending trial. And so for those two reasons, I am not going to grant bond at this time. Mr. Reese's motion for bond is denied. And I believe that concludes this matter unless there's any further record that anyone would like to make. Mr. Connor?
Nothing from the defense.
Thank you. Mr. Griner?
Nothing from the state. Thank you.
Okay. This matter is concluded. Mr. Reese may be excused.
Okay. So yeah, we let me pull this up real quick. So okay. That was gut-wrenching. I mean, I was okay. Like I was okay with the victim statements, the great cousin and the mom, but when the cousin, the young niecey came through, who got shot in the legs on her birthday, had to sit there and lose her best friend, and she's recovering, and then just to see her able to walk. She got shot in both legs 2 months ago. That's a miracle. So, that got me. That really, really got me. This guy is, like they said, he hadn't been convicted yet, right? It's funny how a lot of times people are like, oh, he doesn't have a background, or she doesn't have a background, or that. To the judge's point, you're on charges and continue to rack up charges. Even though he had not been convicted, I'm going to just say he's well on his way to something, because sir keeps continuing to find himself under scrutiny of the law. Okay. Anyway, you guys voted, I believe it was 179 votes. You guys voted no bond, and Bougie Gang, of course, so smart, is right. Karaji Reese, bond, yes or no? It was no, 92%, yes, 7%. I mean, it's always a possibility. Why not? You're entitled to it. But in this story, yeah, he wasn't getting it. So yeah. And here we are with the order for bond. I don't have the complete order for bond. I didn't know I was going to show this. I was actually heading towards showing you guys something else that I thought was interesting today, because I saw a sentencing in Judge McAfee's court, and this lady got life. Anywho, this is his order for bond, and there's bond was denied, and basically they're checking off B1 and B3, basically, or 1 and 3. Defendant poses a significant risk of fleeing from the jurisdiction or failing to appear. He's already got some FTA. And then also defendant poses a significant risk of committing a felony pending trial, because guess what? that's what he did in this situation. He was out pending trial. He'd already been given a chance to be out and return to court and be on the straight and narrow, and that's not what happened. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on what's next for Mr. Reese, and we'll keep up because I mean this could be a pretty interesting trial because it sounds like he is trying to maintain his innocence, and there is a lot of video footage putting him in the place, but maybe not quite catching him in the act. They say that was him, but his defense is also maintaining that there were many other people in the club fitting that same description, and it's possible, they're maintaining it wasn't him. So interesting, right? Anyway, let's see what you guys have to say. Is this an innocent man? Girl, I don't know. They better not get too deep into other people's cases. I would say they need to take a good dose of mind their own business because people who are, like I'm sure there may be someone in the midst who may be innocent potentially, but Nesto needs to focus on himself. Like if there's one thing that we know, it's gonna be forensics. Yeah. If they found two different types of bullets, that's going to be easy enough for them to sort out. They'll figure it out. And then, of course, if they detained him immediately at the scene, then there would have been some testing that they would have done on his fingers and fingertips to see if he had that gunshot residue on his hands and his clothes. They would have stripped him of his clothes. They would have checked his hands, all of the things. So, and he was identified out of a lineup. So we'll see how this goes. What's that? Girl, the wasn't me excuses played. Also, I don't like how his lawyer didn't. I mean, I guess, look, lawyer, they have to do what they have to do, right? But the fact that if he knows this guy and he had beef with the guy, he kind of tippy-toed by the fact that he knew this person, and it was like his lawyer said, word on the street is you two had beef. So why make it seem as though you didn't kind of know him? Like it's debatable whether you even know him or not, when it's debatable like that you guys had beef. If you have beef with someone, you at least know who they are. It doesn't mean that y'all have beef, but someone's got beef, right? Interesting. Anyway, let me see what else you guys have to say. Hi, Sharon. How are you? How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Okay, do you guys want to see the sentencing in Judge McAfee's court? That was interesting. This lady, let me tell you what happened. I was going to save that, but so this is in 2021, friends and family members are mourning the life of an Atlanta woman who was killed Tuesday morning when police say a domestic dispute erupted into gunfire in Southwest Atlanta apartment complex. A triple shooting happened shortly before 9:15. A triple shooting happened shortly before 9:15 a.m. in the 400 block of Thomasville Boulevard, according to police. Officers arrived at the scene and discovered a woman dead inside of an apartment. Atlanta Police Major Deandra Price told reporters outside the home. There was a domestic dispute between a mother and father, Price said. Gunshots rang out as a woman left the apartment, authorities said. She was shot multiple times and died at the scene. 2 men were also shot, according to police. The first was found with wounds at the initial scene and taken to the hospital. He was listed in stable condition. A third victim was discovered in the area about 3 hours after with a gunshot wound to the foot. Atlanta police said they were searching for a woman suspected in the shooting. Later Tuesday evenings, authorities announced the arrest of 43-year-old Andrea Rivers on multiple charges related to the incident. Wait, hold on. Let me show you her picture. Few other details about the circumstances leading up to the shooting have been released, including to what caused the fight and proceeded to the gunfire. More than a dozen neighbors and family members gathered at the complex Tuesday morning as detectives began their homicide investigation. Distraught relatives cried out as they held one another in attempt to make sense of the deadly shooting. My sister was a good person. She works hard. She takes care of her children, LaShonda Hicks told Atlanta Journal News, the Constitution. She's a single mother and then had to go tell her children that they're not ever going to see their mama no more. Police identified the victim as Sharimi Poole. Hicks said that she was a mother and lived of 5 whose children range from 5 to 16. They just don't understand what this did to our family, she sobbed. You took somebody away from us that we can never be able to replace. It wasn't even worth it. Rivers has been charged with 1 count of murder and 3 counts of aggravated assault with the intent of murder. She was taken into custody without incident and transported to Fulton County Jail. Authorities have also not released the names of the 2 men injured in the shooting, which comes from amid a spike of violent crime that has left many Atlanta residents on edge. The city surpassed the 100th homicide of the year over the weekend, ahead of the last year's pace. Atlanta Police Department investigated 157 homicides in 2020 and up from 99 in 2019. On Monday, department leaders held a news conference outside of the headquarters, urging residents to stop shooting one another. Within hours, another man was dead after a fight led to gunfire outside in a gas station in Northeast Atlanta, authorities said. The department took to social media again in hours after Poole's death, pleading with residents to settle their disputes peacefully. Like many of the other murders detectives have investigated this year, Atlanta police said this too could have been avoided. By the time 911 was called and the police arrived, it's often too late, the department wrote on Facebook. The damage has already been done. Another life lost, another funeral will need to be planned. More families impacted by irreversible, immature, reckless people with guns, the Post read. We continue to be disturbed and saddened by the number of people willing to take a life, throw their own lives away, and destroy families by picking up a gun and pulling the trigger. Atlanta police once again urge residents to make better decisions and walk away from disputes. When people begin to value their lives and the lives of others, these homicide statistics will go down, the department wrote. There was a correction. Initial version of the story incorrectly identified the victim of the fatal shooting. Police identified the woman killed Tuesday morning as Sharimi Poole. Okay. Do you want to know what happened to ma'am? Let me see. They had the sentencing today in Judge McAfee's court. 2011 from 2021 to today, Judge McAfee listened to the prosecutors give their recommendations on what should happen. Let me see if I can find it. Hopefully I can find it. I had it up earlier. All right. We know Judge McAfee. Judge McAfee was the judge where Ashley Merchant and Nathan Wade and Fonnie Willis came to testify. He listened to that proceeding, judged on it and everything. Let's see. So we know who Judge McAfee is, right? All right. And this is just a second. Do they have the description? Okay, here we go. So this is the sentencing for Andrea Rivers. She is the one who was accused of the triple shooting. 1 person dead and 2 people injured. I think I showed you guys her indictment. She had the murder, aggravated murder, assaults, various different charges. I'll pull them up once they're finished reading everything.
We gotta mute yours.
I don't have microphone.
Okay. All right, testing. Let me know when you're ready. All right, let's go back on the record with 21 SC 180089-01 State versus Andrea Rivers. We received a verdict yesterday and we are scheduled this morning to conduct the sentencing on this case. Ms. Willingham, is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Strozier?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Willingham, just as a matter of housekeeping, would the state be able to present a null pros by the end of today on the original indictment?
Yes, Judge, that was something I actually was going to ask you about with the new way they do the SC. I didn't know.
From what I can tell, it is a separate file in Odyssey.
Okay.
So when I look up the new 01, it's its own separate docket.
Okay.
And so I think that the original indictment is going to count as a different case.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
If not, we'll undo it. But all right. There you have it. So on the first indictment, then I'll keep an eye out for that on email. And if you could start out, Ms. Willingham, giving me an idea of what the state would be recommending in this case. And then if you have any evidence in aggravation you'd like to present, you can go from there.
Your Honor, the state's overall recommendation in this case will be life plus a total of 25. 10 of those years will run concurrent, 10 would run consecutive, and then there would be plus 25. And then there will be a 5-year suspended sentence consecutive by operation of law. Would be our overall sentence. And the breakdown for that, Your Honor, would be as to count 1, the state would be asking for life. As to count 2, that vacates as an operation of law. Count 3 merges into count 2. Into count 1. Count 4, the state would be asking for 5 years to run concurrent with count 1. Count 5, the state would be asking for 5 years to run concurrent with count 1. Count 6, the state would be asking for 5 years to run consecutive to count 1. Count 7, the state would be asking for 5 years to run consecutive to count 6. And count 8, the state would be asking for 5 years suspended consecutive to count 7. I've had an opportunity to review the defendant's criminal history, Your Honor, and she has no felony convictions. She did receive first offender for a cruelty to children and an aggravated battery back on June 17th of 2005. But other than that, there is no criminal history. We would ask, Your Honor, also that the court hear from the family, who I know have provided impact statements, and we would ask that those be heard at this time.
Do you have a certified copy of that 2005 first offender disposition or any other details that you're planning to proffer as it relates to that?
Your Honor, no, as it wasn't a conviction. So.
All right. And why does that matter? Would it still be evidence? It's an aggravation, even if it's a first offender disposition?
It has always been my understanding that we couldn't use it to recidivize her, so we're not, because it's a first offender, so.
Sure, okay. Setting aside recidivism though, just general aggravation. I'll take what you got. All right.
From our review of that case, it's an incident where she used a belt to whoop her child.
All right, Ms. Willingham.
So do you want to depose him, or can she?
I think wherever she feels comfortable, as long as we can hear her.
Good morning, everyone. Writing this statement is the hardest thing I've ever done.
And ma'am, before you get too far into it, I'd ask if you could identify yourself for the record. And spell your name for us and let me know how you're connected to this case.
My name is LaShonda Hicks, LASHUNDA HICKS, and Shamir Poole was my big sister. Writing this statement is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's been almost 3 years since my sister was senselessly murdered. And every day since has been a struggle. Watching her 5 kids grow up without their mother is a pain and that words can barely convey. They have other support systems, but nothing can replace the unique love of a mother. To know that all this heartbreak stems from her trying to help someone in need is devastating. My nieces and nephews achieve milestones that should be celebrated with joy, but they are overshadowed by the void left by their mother. Andrea Rivers' selfish act of murder robbed them of their mother's presence, turning every triumph into a painful reminder of her absence. My 7-year-old niece asked me, why does she have to grow up without her mom because the lady shot her in the head? It shattered my heart. It's a question I can't answer. Watching my nephew sleep on the floor because he feels it's safer there, or seeing my nephew fight his anger because he's so hurting so deeply. Witnessing my oldest niece struggle with depression while trying to succeed in college for her siblings' sake, and observing my other niece withdraw from the world because her grief consumes her every thought. All of this is a daily torment. Shamir was not only a mother of 5, but also a mother figure to everyone around her. She was the big sister we could always rely on, the one who would do everything in her power to help. She had a big heart, genuine heart, and loved everybody. She cared for people in the community and other family members, often providing them and offering food and shelter when they needed it. Her murder has left a gaping hole in our family. No mother expects to have to bury her child, especially under such horrific circumstances. Watching your child be shot and killed in front of you tears apart a piece of your soul that can never be healed. Or for Demetria, losing her big sister, her strongest support, her everything, and being helpless to save her as she watched life drain from her body is a torment she relives every day. Shamir practically raised Michael through different phases of his life. Her death, caused by trusting someone who he expected to act responsibly, has left him suffering in the deepest, darkest pain imaginable. Imagine the pain of being that person trying to uphold the standard that she set because someone has to be strong for the family. Seeing my nieces and nephew cry, asking questions I can't answer, reminds me constantly of the life-altering impact of her loss. Every day, life will never be the same. No one would never share future moments with Shamir. She was robbed of seeing her children graduate, go to prom, receive their diplomas, fall in love, and start families of their own. Her children have been deprived of sharing the most important memories of their lives with the person who matters to them the most. The murder of Shamir Poole has devastated not only our family, but everyone who knew her. The pain and suffering we endure daily is beyond articulation. While no sentence can heal our wounds, seeing justice served provides a small sense of closure. Shamir did not deserve to have her life stolen, and we, her family, did not deserve this relentless heartache. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for being here.
The one thing I noticed today, so I ended up watching both of these proceedings. They're not playing, like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we see stuff and it's like, oh, someone got like a light deal or someone got like a light sentence or what I saw today, like these judges and the prosecutors, like they ask for the max. So we're gonna see. But ma'am was recommended a lot of time, basically a life sentence. And I mean, look, she was convicted yesterday of murdering someone. So I read you guys the article. Anyone who's just now coming in, if you go back just a little bit, I'll put chapters in today's episode. But we are just going over 2 cases, one that's actually just started and one that pretty much just ended. One was a Mother's Day shooting at a nightclub, and they were having the bail hearing today. Well, was that today? Today or yesterday? Excuse me. And I want to say it was yesterday. My bad. And the sentencing today of a woman who was found guilty yesterday, or was found guilty of a domestic dispute that resulted in the shooting, a triple shooting. One person who was fatally shot. So, ma'am is getting she's been convicted of murder. So anyway, this isn't much longer. This is like 7 more minutes. And so yeah, I know it's a little bit of a left turn from, I mean, we kiki and stuff a lot, but at the end of the day, this is also what's happening in the courtrooms in Fulton County. We know Nesto, definitely there's a lot of shenanigans going on, but I think it's going to turn serious, a lot more serious once he actually gets to court. Even though, there is stuff that happens, like, the stuff with YSL this past couple of weeks have been very interesting. But it definitely, this is some of the more serious stuff that's going on, which it's all serious, but luckily we've been able to see some of the kiki side of things that were going on, but this is some of what's going on and some of what people are going through in the courts right now. So let's just finish this up.
And that concludes the state's portion.
All right. Any other argument, or you say that's...
I just can't imagine having to sit through this every single day as the judge or the court reporters, the people who have to like absorb like the multitude of cases on a regular basis. My God, I cannot imagine.
Complete the evidence that you present, Ms. Willingham.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Strozier.
Is it state bench?
They are, Mr. Strozier.
Yeah, Your Honor,
Thank you, boo. Thank you so much. That's very sweet. Thank you. I was gonna drop some blue hearts, drop some blue hearts in the chat. Let's see. So Nasty Nesto got a membership. Flawless, Denise Ernest, Sarah Yvonne, Butterfly, Tracy V Stratamus, Black Not Bitter. Is that everybody? Thank you so much, Boo. I appreciate you so much for supporting this channel. We definitely appreciate it. And we love you. Love you, sis. All right, let's keep going. Look, we lost about 100 people. I guess people are not there. This is a little bit of a different topic, but it's court watching isn't always on some shenanigans.
I don't want my comments to be construed in any way minimizing the terrible tragedy that's happened here. Shamir Poole most certainly did.
Thank you, CJ Applejacks. I appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a new member. Let me drop some coins on you guys. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, Nyla. Thank you for dropping some coins on us. We appreciate it, sis, very much. The Real Empress, thank you for bubbling this up. Pregnant, is it Malaysia Hogg, murdered by her 62-year-old female neighbor who sat with the family while they searched for her. Oof. Awful. Ebony, thank you for supporting. KKR, thank you. Praise ya. Thank you to the families affected by the horrific tragedy. Absolutely. Forever Tea, thank you. And Integrity Matters. You guys, thank you all for supporting. JMM 55, thank you, hun. Thank you so much. Let's see who else got gifted. JMM, thank you, hun. And it looks like it's the Rocks. Thank you. CJ Applejacks, thank you for gifting some friends. Philly Girl, Amazing Grace, G Creates, Precious Gigi, and Nyla. What? Look at Al. Won't he do it? Look at that. Look at that. You give some, you get some. Isn't that wonderful? Look at Al. Al works so quickly. Okay. When you put out good, good returns. Okay. It's just it's some people call it divine reciprocity. Okay. Okay. Guys, take a minute, look at your phone, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, make sure your notifications are set. And last but not least, girl, as I'm starting to lose my voice, hit the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up, okay? Show me some love in a free way and hit the like. Okay? Let's finish up this sentencing and then I'll let y'all go. I am going to do a member live later. I don't have a time, but any of you guys who are members, just make sure to come through. We are going to go through 2 videos that I dropped in Patreon. Another thing also is that some of the documents that I get, like some people may have it up posted for free. I do not know. It's 56 pages. If you want to read the transcript, I do have the transcript posted, and I think I have it posted for like $6 on my Patreon. I paid well over that for it last night. So if you want it, you can get it. If you're a member in my Patreon, guess what? You get it for free. So if you're not a member and you just want the document, I'm a source where you can get it. Otherwise, if you're a member, just go ahead and get your free download. So just that little housekeeping item. If there are some documents that you want that I've posted and researched, the transcript from the ex parte in Judge Glenville's chambers that put a halt to the YSL hearing. I have it posted on my Patreon. So if that's something that you would like to have for yourself, Pam did a reading of it last night, which was so good, so helpful. If you didn't catch that, make sure to catch that on Pam Esquire. It was a very, very, very good and informational video last night, live stream. But if you would like to have a copy of that document for yourself, it's located on my Patreon. Thank you, Miss Sharon. Thank you, babe. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Okay. You guys are all awesome, and I appreciate the overwhelming support. Sometimes I feel like it's even hard for me to articulate just because it really feels so good to be supported in such a positive way. So I want to thank you guys for always, being so supportive to this channel. And I just want to let you guys know, period, you guys are so awesome. So thank you. If you're on the replay, thank you. Let's finish up this video and we will get together later. So if you are interested in membership, come on. If you are good, that's okay. We are going to react to a couple of videos that I dropped in Patreon. So it'll be a Patreon and YouTube all members video. Okay. And we'll do that later, probably sometime tonight. Okay. So just have your notifications on. And when I go live, we'll have some kikis tonight.
Did not deserve lose her life. This is one of the saddest cases that I've run across in my career. And unfortunately, we see it more and more often. I don't think there's any evidence presented that indicated that my client wanted anything bad to happen. I'm not saying anything to undermine the jury's verdict. The jury paid very keen interest to the case and fairly deliberated the case and rendered its verdict. I would ask that as you consider my client's sentence, that she is in very, very poor health, and just about any custodial sentence is probably going to amount to a life sentence. She's probably not going to, given her health condition, she's probably not going to survive to ever be released and breathe free air again. So That's really all I have to say, Your Honor. I'd ask that you hear from my client now.
All right. Miss Rivers, you're not required to say anything at this point, but if there is something that you'd like me
Hey guys, I just wanted to pay it forward real quick because you guys have really touched my heart. And I haven't done this in a minute. Usually I try to do this at least once a week, but I haven't done it in a little minute. So I wanted to gift some folks some membership. So if you don't have a membership, I can't give you a membership when memberships drop, but this is my best way of giving memberships, which is putting my own coin back into giving you guys some memberships, and then Al figures it out. So Miss Veronica, Southside Queens, Love Seen and Heard, Lady Shay G, Praise, Bella Flamenca, Sunshine 616, Just Ask Shar, Bridget Weaver, and Muff Moon. Guess what? You just got gifted by me. Okay? You got gifted by me, and I hope that you enjoy the free membership or gifted membership for the month. And go ahead, make sure your notifications are set so when we do our member live tonight, you can join us. Okay? All right. Love you guys. Love you guys, mean it.
need to know, or anyone else here, this is certainly your opportunity to do so.
Good morning, everybody. I want to just tell the family that I'm sorry what happened. It wasn't my intention. Shamir was like a daughter to me as well. I've grown to know her. She was a beautiful, kind person with a beautiful smile. I'm sorry that what happened wasn't intended. My heart goes out to her kids, her mom, her family. And I pray that y'all begin to heal in some kind of way. I'm sorry for this. I didn't mean for any of this to happen.
Wow. So this is the accused giving a apology, which you don't see that a lot. You do not see that a lot happen. Sean L, ND, Michi, Dr. Sister Girl, and I'm here for the entertainment. That's the best thing. Just be here for the entertainment. Yes, thank you, sis. You got gifted by our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful bougie gang, Boo Boo Jackson Tabasco. Thank you, Jackson Tabasco. I appreciate you gifting friends in the chat. Thank you so much.
I didn't mean for anyone's life to be lost. But I hope and pray that you all find healing in your heart.
Anything further, Mr. Strozier?
No, sir.
Anything in rebuttal, Ms. Willingham?
Good job.
No.
All right. After considering the evidence and aggravation and mitigation presented by the parties and reviewing the statutory requirements in this case, first I'll note, Mr. Strozier, I think your point is well taken. This, I think, as the indictment itself says, that this was not a case of express malice, and we didn't hear evidence in this trial that this was something, not that it was required to be, but we didn't hear that this was a case that involved a lot of planning or premeditation or something that Ms. Rivers had been really set on doing for an extended period of time. But that being said, a life can be ended in an instant, and it's one that clearly mattered to a great number of people who have been here throughout this trial and shown their support of Miss Poole and what she meant to them. And that's an action that has consequences, and very serious ones in this case, as the sentencing discretion of the court is essentially mandated. And in a case like this, where a conviction for felony murder has been returned, the statute compels the result here, leaving me with just the option of life or life without parole. And as recommended by the state, due to the lack of criminal history and the circumstances of the case itself, I do not think a life without parole sentence is the appropriate outcome. And it will be up to you, though, to show the contrition you showed today to convince the parole board that that is genuine after serving a significant sentence in this case. And so that being said, I think the appropriate sentence here would be on count 1, as recommended by the state, a term of life imprisonment. Count 2 vacates by operation of law. Count 3, the aggravated assault of Miss Poole, merges to count 1. As to the remaining counts, whether those should be consecutive or concurrent, again, I'm not, not again, but the facts of this case, I think, are driving that decision for me, where I'm not seeing a compelling reason why a life sentence isn't an appropriate outcome here and won't do the justice this case demands. And so I believe the appropriate sentence on counts 4, 5, and 6 would be the 20 years to serve, but that would run concurrent to count 1. Count 7, I would ask Ms. Willingham if you can remind me of the statutory maximum of criminal damage to property in the first degree. Then that would be 10 years concurrent to count 1. In count 8, which must run consecutive, would be 5 years consecutive to count 1, but that would be suspended. So the total sentence in this case would be life imprisonment followed by 5 years suspended. Is there any clarity on the sentence, Mr. Strozier? Needed? All right. There's a few things, Ms. Rivers, I need to advise you of at this point. You have a right to seek post-judgment relief from your conviction of these crimes, either by making a motion for new trial in this court or by filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If you want to file a motion for new trial or an appeal, then you need to file that motion or notice of appeal with the Clerk of Superior Court of this county within 30 days. This is something you'll probably want to discuss more with Mr. Strozier. If a motion
Oh, my bad. I thought my microphone was on. My bad. Anyway, this is her mugshot. And this is on the scene. I'll let me drop the link to the article so you guys can read it. I read it out to you guys, but there were a couple other posts I saw on this, but not a lot of coverage on this one, but it was really interesting. Anyway, I just dropped you guys the link to the article on the AJC, and yeah, ma'am got life. Okay, she didn't get life without parole, but she got life. I mean, I guess they must feel like this is enough of a problem where they're trying to definitely make it like you don't want to come in here on these charges. And you know what? I mean, I don't blame them for not giving that guy Karanji Reese no bail, because if he's facing a life without, or life period, whatever it might be, killing 2 people, what's the incentive for him to not flee? I mean, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because if you take a shot and see if you can get away, and they catch or if they catch you, I mean, what do you have to lose? Because you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life anyway. You know what I mean? So that's crazy, right? Thanks, Bougie, for the help earlier this week. I love being part of Bougie Gang. I love you being part of Bougie Gang family too. Yeah, if any of you guys ever have a problem, I know sometimes there's some glitchy, weird stuff going on. And once I got sis got a hold of me in the DMs. And when she told me what was going on, I really don't know why this glitch happens. I don't want to say too much about it because um but I've heard a couple of people tell me this, and sometimes it does involve like closing out your app, resetting your app, you know what I mean, doing all those things, but it's just weird. But yeah, she told me what was what. I think Extra AF you had that problem too. Maybe if I'm not speaking out of turn. But anyway, the was it you? Maybe not. Let me stop pointing people out. Anyway, sis had a glitch, and I helped fix it, and it was all good. And if ever you guys have an issue, sometimes I'm super duper good about responding in Instagram. Sometimes I get sidetracked from Instagram, and it could be a day or two, and I'm like, oh God, I haven't been in my Instagram. So don't take it any type of way. Just email me on Love Lies and Lace Fronts or Real Talk PR or info@realtalkbougie.com, or get me in my Instagram. Instagram, I feel like, is numero uno because I answer that typically always first. But just let me know how I can help if there's a problem. Um, I do want to address something else really quick. I had a sis who reached out to me on something else, a financial matter. And I'm not going to even say, I guess I'm saying it here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was this platform. It could have actually been for my other platform, but I guess I just want to put it out there. I really don't put a whole lot out there um, in terms of situations where people may need some help. If I can help sometimes privately, I will, but I have to be a good steward and I have to protect this audience of people, and I'm just not always quick to take solicitation for assistance because I don't know everybody, and I'm going to hate to say it, but sometimes I don't know who's running a play and things like that. I don't have time for that. So it's not to be unhelpful, and it's not to be um but I have to be very, very careful what I open myself up to, therefore bringing to the attention of people who trust me. So um if anyone feels some type of way because I didn't give the response that you felt like I should give, my bad, but I have to be super duper careful because I don't know everyone. And usually I go based on if my gut just tells me yes or no. And so I hope that you understand. I can't be um we're here to entertain, and we're also here to help in any way possible. And like I said, if there's something I can do personally, I definitely try. um but definitely I suggest seeking out all of your local help and resources, and if I'm able to provide any type of assistance in terms of identifying resources or even putting a call out to ask if any of our sisses are aware of resources, I can do that. But initially, in terms of soliciting finances and things like that, I don't do that. You know what I mean? I just want to just say this one time, just for the one time, I don't really do that. Because sometimes, not all the time, some people can be trying to make fools out of people. And I hate to say it, but it just kind of makes it shut down for everybody. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, um, yeah, you know what I mean? On an individual basis, I'm happy to see what I can do. And then also pooling together to find resources locally for someone, right? But in terms of like a cash drop, I can't do that. I just can't. I don't even do that for myself. I don't ask you guys for anything. You know what I mean? I can't come to you and ask for people that I'm not really sure what's really going on. So I just want to say that just for the one time. So I hope you guys understand. Because it kind of hurts me to say, because I'm a very giving, charitable person. But it was on my heart to say that. But definitely resources, support, and things of that nature absolutely help. Um, not necessarily cash apps, okay, cash apps and things of that nature, you know what I mean? So I know that there's a lot of people in this collective who are well connected and who can pool resources to actually help people that may need it, and can vet and validate better than I can from my seat. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So I don't want anyone to feel like don't email me on certain things. Please do, but just understand that help might not be what you think. Okay. I can rally to get some folks mobilized to see if they have information for you to help, right? It'll just be a different type of help, right? Okay. I felt compelled to say that on today. So I hope you guys, yeah. Anyway, I love you guys. This was so much fun. Thank you for supporting Rainbow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So really, that was even just a call of encouragement. If somebody if you need some information or some advice or something like that, please feel free to reach out. And if I don't know the answer, I will definitely pool to get it for you. But just understand the type of help that's offered over here, because I just can't. I don't want to get myself involved in stuff I can't vet. What happened, Robert? Hey, Robert, how are you? He was a great lawyer. Let's see. Someone passed? Baby, getting played one time, you won't ever get played again. You know what I'm saying? Um, Guys, this was so much fun today. I know that these were some heavy topics, but I think as being court watchers and stuff like that, it's not, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what's going to come up from time to time. But I enjoyed it. I have a couple other things I want to share with you guys tomorrow. Um, Tomorrow's Wednesday, so tomorrow's members and mods. I will meet up with you guys tonight. We'll do a reaction to some videos I dropped in Patreon. Don't forget, you can get your free, register for Patreon. Even if you're not a paying Patreon patron, I do make sure to post at least a couple times a day, and at least once or twice a day, a public post, which could be like a live stream coming up, information that I've collected, interesting news stories that I may just not want to drop on YouTube or Instagram that I drop in Patreon, things that, we might have some interest in covering or talking about or things like that. So it's also just a great alert, because sometimes you guys say you do not get your alerts on YouTube, and I do need to get better at dropping my link like right before I go live. So if you did not get a notification, you will get the Patreon notification. Because I'm gonna tell you, if one thing I have learned is that Patreon notifications do go out. Okay. I get Patreon for the channels that I subscribe to on Patreon, or the pages I support on Patreon. I get those notifications. I do. So Patreon definitely is a great notifier. So I will make sure to drop my Patreon link. I think I dropped it earlier today. Go check out my Patreon page, and you can register for your free membership. And if you decide to upgrade, great. If you stay where you're at, you'll be notified when I drop, when I drop public posts. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's everything. I feel like I went through all of Sunday announcements and everything. Okay. Reach out to your circle of trust. That's always a great um bit of advice. But sometimes, believe it or not, because we're so awesome over here on this internet, sometimes people's internet family is sometimes all they have. And I do appreciate that some of you guys actually consider me to be a trusted resource, and I respect that very much. But I have to set some boundaries, because sis ain't rich. And I can't do everything for everyone. But as far as getting information and being supportive and maybe trying to see what resources we can find you locally, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so internet family is real. Yes, internet family is absolutely real. So don't take like let's not take that internet circle of trust or family circle like too lightly, because yeah, for some people, especially during the pandemic, this was definitely a lifeline for a lot of people. But I just, you know what I'm saying, I just want to I would be remiss if I did not like speak what was on my heart and tell you guys the truth about how I feel about something, just so we can all operate and be free and enjoy each other. You know what I mean? I don't want to harbor like certain feelings because I feel like, oh God, I should have said something and now I'm getting uncomfortable. So yeah. Anyway, guys, you guys are awesome. Have a wonderful day. Make sure to hit the like button for me. Today was awesome. I appreciate y'all so much. And thank you to everyone who contributed. And I will see you guys later for some fun and some laughs and kikis. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye.